The steam hit my face like a wall of liquid heat. I shouldn't have been there. The royal bath chamber was forbidden to all outsiders, especially humans. But the child's scream had come from behind these doors, and every instinct in my body screamed that waiting for permission meant death. I pushed through the mist, my hand on the plasma pistol at my hip. The Zerathi Empire didn't tolerate protocol breaches. They especially didn't tolerate them from human diplomats serving as cultural liaisons. But I'd heard that scream, high and terrified, cutting through the palace's thick walls like a blade. The chamber opened before me, vast and glittering. Crystal pools stretched across black marble floors, each one steaming with water that glowed faintly blue. Phosphorescent vines crawled up pillars that reached toward a domed ceiling painted with constellations I didn't recognize. Beautiful, deadly, empty. No child, no screaming, just silence and steam. My heart hammered against my ribs. Had I imagined it? 3 months on Zerath Prime had taught me that humans heard things differently than the natives. Our ears caught frequencies they couldn't perceive. But this had been clear, unmistakable. A splash echoed from deeper in the chamber. I moved forward, each step measured and quiet. The Zerathi royal family didn't forgive intrusions. Queen Solara herself had warned me during my first audience that their privacy laws were sacred, punishable by exile or worse. But I'd also been assigned to protect human interests in the palace, and if a human child was in danger, another splash. Then a voice speaking in the clicking musical language of the Zerathi, too low for me to make out words. I rounded a pillar and froze. The queen herself sat in the largest pool, her forearms resting on the crystalline edge. Her skin, usually the deep purple of Zerathi nobility, had gone pale, almost translucent. The scales along her neck stood upright, a sign of extreme stress or fear. She wasn't alone. A child floated in the water before her, not human. Zerathi, but wrong somehow. The scales were the right color, the forearms moving correctly, but the proportions were off. Too small, too delicate. And the child's eyes, they were wrong. Instead of the solid black of normal Zerathi eyes, these had pupils, small focused pupils that moved and tracked like human eyes. The queen spoke again, her voice carrying a weight that made my translator implant struggle to render the meaning. You must not surface. Not yet. Not until the ceremony completes. But, Mother, I'm tired. The child's voice was clear now, plaintive and young. Maybe 5 years old in human terms. The water feels heavy today. I know. The queen's voice cracked, and I'd never heard such raw emotion from a Zerathi before. They prided themselves on control, on dignity. But if anyone sees you before the transformation completes, they'll take you from me. Do you understand? They'll say you're impure. They'll say I've broken the bloodline. Ice flooded my veins. I was witnessing something forbidden. Something that could shatter the alliance between Earth and the Zerathi Empire. I should leave. Now. Before they noticed me. The child coughed, a wet, struggling sound. The queen's forearms moved at once, lifting the child from the water, supporting the small body against her chest. Breathe, Kyra. Breathe. But the child wasn't breathing. The small chest heaved once, twice, then went still. I stepped forward, my boots slapping against wet marble. I can help. Her eyes widened, pupils dilating in shock and rage. Every scale on her body stood erect, turning her into a creature of thorns and fury. Human, you dare. Your child is dying. I crossed the distance in 4 strides, dropping to my knees at the pool's edge. I have medical training. Let me help. For 3 seconds, the queen stared at me. In that moment, I saw the calculation behind her eyes. The weighing of options. Her child's life against exposure of whatever secret she'd been guarding. She lowered the child toward me. I pulled Kyra from the water, laying the small body on the marble. The skin was cool. Too cool, and the chest wasn't moving. I tilted the head back, checked the airway. Different anatomy, 4 lungs instead of 2, but the principle was the same. I pressed my hands against the small chest and began compressions. What are you doing? The queen's voice was sharp, controlled again despite the terror in her eyes. PR. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Her hearts have stopped. I counted compressions, feeling for the right rhythm. How many hearts? 2, but human. You don't understand. If she wakes, if she breathes surface air before the transformation, she'll die if I don't try. The queen fell silent. I breathed into Kair's mouth, watching the small chest rise. Compressions again. Breathe. Compress. Sweat dripped into my eyes, mixing with the chamber's steam. The child remained still. Please. The Queen's whisper was barely audible. Please. I pressed down again, harder this time, and felt something shift beneath my palms. Kyra's body jerked. Her eyes flew open, those strange hybrid eyes, and she gasped, coughing water across the marble. She was breathing. The Queen reached for her daughter, but I held up a hand. Wait, let her stabilize. I turned Kyra onto her side, supporting her as she coughed and gasped. Easy. You're okay. Just breathe. Kyra's eyes found mine. Just for a child of an alien species, the intelligence in that gaze was unmistakable. And the fear. Were you going to tell? Her face had gone completely blank, unreadable. Waiting for my answer. Waiting to see if I'd just destroyed everything she'd protected. The chamber's doors burst open behind us. Footsteps heavy and fast. The royal guard. Your Majesty, we heard... The guard captain's voice died as he took in the scene. Me, kneeling beside the princess. The Queen, pale and exposed. The child, wrong in all the ways that mattered to Zarathi purity laws. The captain's hand moved to his weapon. I stood slowly, placing myself between the guard and the child. My mind raced through diplomatic protocols, through everything I knew about Zarathi law and custom. None of it would save us now. None of it would explain why the Queen's daughter had human eyes. Captain. The Queen's voice cut through the tension like a blade. She rose from the pool, water cascading off her scaled skin, every inch the regal monarch. You will seal this chamber. You will summon the High Council, and you will say nothing of what you've seen here until I give you permission to speak. Is that understood? The captain's jaw worked, his loyalty warring with protocol. Finally, he saluted. Yes, Your Majesty. Good. She looked at me, and I saw the calculation in her eyes again. The human diplomat stays with me. Under guard, but safe. We have much to discuss. I nodded, understanding the unspoken threat and promise in those words. I'd saved her daughter's life, but I'd also learned the secret that could topple an empire. Whether I left this chamber alive depended entirely on what happened next. Kyra coughed again, and I knelt beside her, checking her pulse. Both pulses. Her small hand gripped mine with surprising strength. Thank you, she whispered in perfect English. My blood went cold. That was impossible. Zarathi children didn't learn alien languages until adolescence. Their vocal structures couldn't form human sounds until their scales hardened. Unless Kyra wasn't fully Zarathi, I looked up at the Queen and saw the truth written in her eyes. The secret she'd hidden in these baths, behind steam and protocol. The secret that would change everything humanity thought we knew about our allies. The doors sealed with a definitive boom. The captain and his guards formed a perimeter, weapons ready, expressions carefully neutral. The Queen wrapped her daughter in a thermal blanket, her forearms moving with practiced care. Commander Marcus Chan of Earth's Diplomatic Corps, the Queen said formally, using my full title. You have violated sacred law. You have witnessed forbidden knowledge. By rights, I should have you executed immediately. I stood, meeting her gaze without flinching. By rights, you should thank me for saving your daughter's life. A muscle twitched beneath the Queen's eye. Indeed. She settled Kyra onto a cushioned bench, then turned to face me fully. But gratitude and law are often at odds, Commander, especially when the law exists to preserve the very foundation of our society. A foundation built on lies? The captain moved, his weapon rising, but the Queen raised one hand and he froze. Careful, human. You walk a narrow path. Then help me understand it. I gestured to Kyra, who watched us with those impossible hybrid eyes. Help me understand what I'm looking at. 'Cause right now, all I know is that I saved a child's life, and that's being treated like a crime. The Queen studied me for a long moment. Then, surprisingly, she laughed. The sound was bitter and tired. You want to understand? Very well. You've earned that much. She moved to the pool's edge, staring down into the glowing water. Tell me, Commander, what do you know about Zarathi history? Our true history, not the sanitized version we share with outsiders. I thought back to my briefings before arriving on Zarath Prime. You're one of the oldest continuous civilizations in the galaxy. Your empire has stood for 10,000 years. Your royal bloodline has never been broken, maintained through strict purity laws and genetic selection. The bloodline must remain pure. The Queen's voice held an edge of mockery. Do you know why, Commander? Why we guard our genetics so zealously? The official explanation is cultural tradition. The truth is survival. She turned to face me. 5,000 years ago, the Zerathi nearly went extinct. A plague swept through our people, targeting a specific genetic marker. Only those with diverse enough genetics survived. The pure bloodlines died screaming. So you introduced outside genetics. We had no choice, but we couldn't admit it. Our society was built on the concept of Zerathi supremacy. To acknowledge that we needed other species to survive would have shattered our identity. She gestured to Kea. Every generation since, the royal family has secretly introduced genetic diversity, always hidden. The transformation chamber here was designed to mask the process, to make hybrid children appear fully Zerathi by the time they were presented to the court, and Kyra was supposed to complete her transformation 3 weeks ago. The queen's shoulders sagged, but something went wrong. The genetic integration stalled. She's trapped between forms, unable to fully become Zerathi, but unable to survive as she is. The water helps, but each day she weakens. I looked at Kyra, who'd fallen asleep on the bench, her breathing shallow but steady. What did you mix with the Zerathi genetics? Human. The word hung in the air like a detonation. That's impossible, I said, but my voice lacked conviction. Humans and Zerathi aren't compatible. Our biologies are too different. Are they? The queen moved closer. We breathe the same air. We process proteins the same way. Our cellular structures are remarkably similar. It took our geneticists decades to work out the compatibility, but they did. And it worked. For 5,000 years, it worked. She looked at her daughter. Until Kyra. The transformation should have been routine, but her human markers are stronger than any previous generation.
They won't integrate. They won't.
Every day she becomes more human and less Zerathi, and if the High Council discovers this, they'll kill her. They'll execute us both. Then they'll purge the bloodline, investigate every royal birth for the last 5 millennia, and when they discover the truth, they'll tear the Empire apart. Billions will die in the chaos. The Queen's voice remained steady, but her hands trembled. And they'll blame humanity. The Alliance will shatter. Earth will face the full might of the Zerathi military machine. I ran a hand through my hair, my mind racing. So you've been trying to fix her in secret. For months. Every treatment fails. And now you've seen her, saved her, and I must decide whether to trust you or silence you permanently. The guards shifted, weapons ready. I knew without looking that I couldn't reach the door. The Queen could order my death with a word, and no one would question it. But I also knew something else. You won't kill me, I said quietly. Why not? Because I'm your solution. The Queen's eyes narrowed. Explain. Kyra needs human genetic material to stabilize. That's why her transformation is failing. She needs human intervention, human biology, to complete the process. And you can't get that from your own geneticists without exposing the secret. I stepped closer. But I'm human. I'm here. And I'm motivated to help, because if this secret gets out, Earth burns along with your empire. You would help us? Suspicion colored every word. I would help her. I nodded toward Kyra. She's a child. She doesn't deserve to die because her genetics won't cooperate. And beyond that, yes, I'll help you, because the alternative is war, and I've seen enough war to last a lifetime. The Queen studied me for a long moment. Then she turned to the captain. Summoned. Tell him to bring the complete genetic analysis equipment, and tell him absolute discretion is required, on pain of execution. The captain saluted and spoke into his communicator. The Queen returned her attention to me. If you betray this trust, Commander, death will be the kindest fate awaiting you.
Understood. Good.
She moved to Kyra's side, smoothing the child's damp hair with one hand. My daughter calls you friend in her sleep. She has good instincts despite her youth. I hope she's right about you. So do I said honestly. We waited in tense silence for Dr. Varath to arrive. The physician appeared within minutes, an elderly Zerathi with silver scales and knowing eyes. He took in the scene without visible reaction, then began setting up equipment around Kyra's sleeping form. The human knows? He asked the Queen. The human saved her life when she stopped breathing. He's now part of this, whether we like it or not. Varath glanced at me, his expression unreadable. Then perhaps the ancestors smile on us after all. I've been telling you for weeks that we needed human genetic material to complete the stabilization. Now one walks into our hands. He activated a scanner, running it over Kyra's body, though I wonder at the timing. Coincidence, I said. Perhaps. He didn't sound convinced. Strip your arm, Commander. I need a genetic sample. Varath pressed the device against my skin, and I felt a brief sting as it extracted cells. He transferred the sample to an analyzer which hummed to life. Interesting, he murmured, watching data stream across a holographic display. Your genetic markers are compatible. More than compatible. They're remarkably similar to the human template we originally used in Kyra's conception, unless Dr. Varath's eyes widened. Your family name is Chen, Chinese ancestry? Why? Because 5,000 years ago, the human population we sampled from was in that region of Earth. Before your species had developed space travel, before you even knew we existed, we took genetic samples from volunteers who thought they were participating in medical studies. He looked at me with something approaching awe. You're a direct genetic descendant of our original human donors, Commander. The probability of such a coincidence is astronomical. The Queen inhaled sharply. The ancestors do smile. Or someone arranged this. Dr. Varath continued scanning. Either way, his genetics are perfect for completing Kyra's stabilization. With his help, we can finish the transformation within days instead of weeks. She'll survive.
Relief washed over the Queen's face. Then do it.
Whatever you need. I'll need the Commander's cooperation. Multiple sessions. And it won't be pleasant. I'll do it, I said immediately. Whatever it takes. Dr. Varath nodded approvingly. Good. We begin immediately. He adjusted his equipment, preparing a second scanner. But understand, Commander, what we're about to attempt has never been done before. We've always worked with stored genetic material, carefully processed and integrated over months. What we're attempting now is raw, direct genetic transfer. It could work. It could kill you both. The Queen moved to stand beside me. If this succeeds, Commander Chen, you will have saved not only my daughter's life, but the future of 2 civilizations. Earth and Zirath will be forever linked by this secret, and if word gets out, then we trust that the bonds we forge here will be stronger than the fear and hatred that would follow. She offered me one of her hands, a gesture of respect among her people. Do we have an accord? I gripped her hand. Her scales were warm and dry against my palm. We have an accord. Touching. Now, if you're both finished with diplomacy, we have a child to save. Commander, lie down beside the princess. This will require direct contact. She stirred, her eyes opening slightly. You came back, she murmured in English. I promised I'd help, I said, though I couldn't remember making any such promise in my dreams. You promised in my dreams. Her hand found mine, small and warm. You said the stars remember their children, even when they forget themselves. I glanced at Dr. Varath, who looked troubled. She's been having visions, the Queen said quietly, since the transformation began failing. We thought it was fever dreams, or genetic memory, Dr. Varath suggested. If she's accessing markers from the original human donors, she might be experiencing echoes of their experiences, their thoughts. He positioned a complex device above both Kaya and me. This will hurt. The genetic transfer requires cellular breakdown and reconstruction in real time. Your immune systems will fight it. I'll mediate the process as much as I can, but pain is inevitable. Do it, I said. The device hummed, then flared with blue light. Fire exploded through my veins. Every cell in my body screamed as the machine tore apart my genetic code and rebuilt it, creating a bridge between my biology and Kyra's. I bit down on my tongue, tasting blood, refusing to cry out. Beside me, Kaya whimpered, her small body arched, scales rippling across her skin in waves of transformation. The hybrid eyes flickered, shifting between human and Zarathi characteristics. Steady, Dr. Varath commanded. The integration is beginning. Don't fight it, Commander. Let your genetics flow. I couldn't have fought if I'd wanted to. The machine held me paralyzed, every nerve ending on fire. Through the pain, I felt something else. A connection forming, fragile and strange. Kyra's consciousness brushed against mine, confused and frightened. It's okay, I thought at her, not knowing if she could hear. I'm here. You're not alone. Her fear lessened. The connection strengthened. And suddenly I wasn't just feeling her emotions. I was seeing through her eyes, experiencing her memories. Being born different, growing up in isolation, her mother's desperate love and fear, the endless treatments that failed, the knowledge, even at 5 years old, that she was the catalyst for something that could destroy everything, and older memories, deeper ones. Memories that weren't hers at all, of Earth 5,000 years past. Of my ancestors volunteering for what they thought was medical research, never knowing their genetics would seed an alien empire. Of promises made under stars that looked different then, promises that echoed through millennia. We are the bridge, Kyra's voice whispered in my mind, between what was and what will be. The pain-crested peaked, then began to fade. The blue light dimmed. The machine powered down with a descending whine. I gasped, dragging air into lungs that felt scoured clean. Beside me, Kaya breathed steadily. Her body relaxed. The scales on her skin had settled into a pattern that looked almost normal, almost fully Xerathi. Status? The Queen demanded. Dr. Vareth studied his readouts, his expression shifting from concern to wonder. Integration is proceeding beyond expectations. The commander's genetics aren't just stabilizing her, they're completing the original transformation template. In 3 more sessions, she'll be indistinguishable from any other royal child. And the human markers? Still present, but integrated so deeply they'll never be detected by standard screening. She'll appear pure Xerathi in every way that matters. He looked at me with newfound respect. You've given her the gift of normalcy, Commander, the ability to live without fear. I sat up slowly, my body aching. Kyra opened her eyes, fully Xerathi black now, without a trace of human pupils. She smiled at me, and I saw the intelligence still there, unchanged beneath the physical transformation. Thank you, she said in Xerathi, her voice carrying harmonics I hadn't heard before. You're welcome, I replied. The Queen pulled me aside as Dr. Vareth began monitoring Kyra's vital signs. This changes everything, you understand? You can't simply walk away from this. I know. You'll need to remain on Xerath Prime, close to Kyra, in case the treatment requires adjustment. And close to me, as insurance of your continued discretion. She paused. I'm not imprisoning you, Commander. I'm offering you a role few humans have ever held. Royal Physician. Genetic Specialist. Guardian of secrets that could reshape the galaxy. And if I refuse, you won't. The Queen's certainty was absolute. Because you felt it, didn't you?
In the transfer.
The connection between your line and mine. Between Earth's past and Xerath's future. I had felt it. A bond forged in genetics and desperation, linking me to this alien child and through her to the fate of 2 worlds. What happens next? I asked. Next, we complete your diplomatic assignment. Publicly, you remain the human liaison, nothing more. Privately, you become part of the inner circle, trusted with the Empire's deepest secret. You'll have access to resources and knowledge beyond anything Earth has shared with you. And in return, you'll help ensure that this secret remains hidden. For how long? Forever, if necessary. The Queen looked at her daughter. Though I suspect that won't be required. Kyra is special, Commander. Even beyond her genetics. The visions she experiences, the way she connected with you, these things suggest she's meant for something greater than simply maintaining the bloodline. Perhaps she's meant to bridge our peoples in truth, not just in secret. That's a lot of weight for a 5-year-old. She was born to bear weight. The Queen's expression softened. But with you here, perhaps she won't have to bear it alone. Over the next 3 days, I underwent 2 more genetic transfer sessions with Kyra. Each one was agonizing. Each one forged the strange bond between us deeper. By the 3rd session, I could sense her emotions even without the machine's connection. I knew when she was frightened, when she was hopeful, when she was simply tired of being poked and prodded. Dr. Vareth declared the treatment complete on the 4th day. Kyra's transformation was flawless. To any observer, she was a perfect example of Xerathi nobility, her hybrid nature buried so deep that even advanced genetic scans wouldn't detect it. The Queen announced the celebration. The princess had completed her traditional transformation ritual, she proclaimed, and would now take her place in the royal court. The High Council attended, along with dignitaries from across the Empire. I watched from my position among the diplomatic corps as Kyra walked into the throne room, every inch the alien princess betraying nothing of the secret we shared. But when she passed my position, she caught my eye and smiled. That night, the Queen summoned me to her private chambers. The informality of the meeting would have shocked the court, but we'd moved beyond such concerns. The High Council suspects nothing, she said, pouring a drink from a crystal decanter. They believe Kyra's transformation was delayed due to genetic complexity, nothing more. Your intervention has been explained as emergency medical assistance during a standard procedure. Your reputation as a hero has been preserved, and the captain and guards who witnessed the truth, Sworn to secrecy with oaths that carry the weight of their family lines. They won't speak. She offered me a glass. You've done the impossible, Commander Chen. You've saved my daughter, preserved the Empire's foundation, and maintained the alliance between our peoples. Earth should be proud. Earth doesn't know what I've done. And they never will. She sipped her drink. I've prepared an official commendation for your service. Publicly, you'll be credited with assisting in the princess's transformation ceremony and strengthening diplomatic ties. The truth remains between us. And now? Now you choose, Commander. You can return to Earth, your assignment completed, your reputation enhanced, or you can stay here, continue your work, and help ensure that what we've begun doesn't unravel. She set down her glass. I won't lie to you. Staying means a life of secrets, of watching Kyra grow while knowing the truth that no one else can know, of being bound to Zareth in ways that will complicate your loyalty to Earth. I thought about Kyra, about the connection we'd forged, about the weight of the secret we shared and what it meant for the future. I'll stay, I said. For now, at least. Until I'm sure Kyra is stable. Thank you. The Queen's relief was genuine, and when you do return to Earth, know that you'll always have a place here. The royal court will remember what you've done, even if they can never speak of it. The weeks that followed settled into a strange new normal. I continued my diplomatic duties, attending functions and mediating minor disputes between human merchants and Zarathi officials, but my real work happened in the private chambers of the royal wing, where I monitored Kyra's health and helped Dr. Vareth ensure the genetic integration remained stable. Kyra flourished. The transformation had not only stabilized her biology, but seemed to have enhanced it. She was stronger, faster, more intelligent than other children her age. The Queen attributed it to hybrid vigor, the same genetic diversity that had saved the Zarathi species millennia ago. One evening, 3 months after the crisis, Kaya asked to speak with me privately. We met in the garden, under stars that still looked foreign to my earthborn eyes. I remember everything, she said without preamble. From the transfer, your memories, your ancestors' memories, all of it. I know, I can still feel echoes of yours too. Why you had to be here, at this moment? She looked up at me with eyes that seemed far too old for her face. We're not just a bridge between Earth and Zareth, Marcus. We're a bridge between their past and future. The original donors gave my people survival. You've given me life, and together we'll give both our peoples something they've never had. What's that? Truth, she smiled. Not now. Not for years, maybe decades. But eventually, the secret will come out. Secrets this big always do, and when it does, people will be angry and afraid. They'll want to tear down everything we've built. Then why tell them? Because they need to know that sometimes survival requires change. That purity is a myth, that strength comes from diversity, and that the connections between species run deeper than anyone imagines. She took my hand. When the time comes, you and I will stand together and show them that the mixing of human and Zarathi isn't a crime. It's a gift. We're living proof that different peoples can become one without losing what makes them unique. I looked down at this remarkable child who spoke with the wisdom of ages. You're planning a revolution. I'm planning an evolution. Her grip tightened. But I can't do it alone. I need you, Marcus. Not just for the next few years, but for the decades to come. Will you stay? Will you help me change the galaxy? I thought about Earth, waiting light years away. About the career I'd left behind, the life I'd planned. All of it seemed distant now, less real than the bond I'd forged with this alien child and the destiny she described. Yes, I said, I'll stay. Kyra smiled, and in that moment, I saw the future she envisioned, a galaxy where humanity and the Zarathi worked together not just as allies, but as family. Where the secrets hidden in royal baths became bridges between worlds, where a chance intervention during a crisis became the catalyst for change that would echo through centuries. I'd entered the alien royal bath expecting to find danger. Instead, I'd found purpose. And, standing there under foreign stars, holding the hand of a child who was both human and Zarathi, both ancient and new, I knew that everything had changed, not just for me, but for both our peoples. The secret the Queen had hidden for ages was out, at least to me, but it wasn't the end of anything. It was a beginning, and I intended to see it through to whatever conclusion awaited us together.